morning and welcome to Rose Red Homestead. As you can see, we are in Salt Lake again in John and Cindy's home, my sister Cindy, as many of you know.
Hi again.
And so since we are together for the weekend, we've decided to do some fun things. So today's video is going to be about meals that we can put together if we just walk into our food storage and bring ingredients into the kitchen and put them together. So Cindy is going to show you two of her meals, and then I'm going to wrap it up showing you two of mine. So we're going to get started.
Let's do it.
Okay.
To me, it's important to be efficient. In food storage, that goes true as well. And I like options. So for a quick, nutritious food storage meal, I want to be able to do things quickly and have it come together and have everything I need. So, options for today. We're doing split pea soup from my food storage. You can either take a quart of split pea soup, heat and eat, boom, dinner is on and you're done. This will serve two people for once or once and a half in a meal. The other option is from food storage, from all my dried and dehydrated options. Split pea soup here, spices and bouillon, dehydrated carrots and celery, my canned ham, and then as the accompaniment, it would be cornbread. Sometimes I make it from scratch, but I do have a mix on hand. But there you go, split pea soup, fast and easy, or a little longer. It's important to know when you make something from scratch, it will make more than this quart, and so you would have leftovers, which is a consideration in case you don't have electricity for storing, for cooling leftovers. And that is split pea soup from my food storage.
And we did not include this particular recipe in our food storage book.
That's right, this is a different meal.
Okay, so everything that we're presenting today will not be found in our food storage book. So you can take notes and we can provide recipes. One of the advantages for doing this rather than this, with this you need to follow the USDA guidelines, which limits the amount of ham. You can put in a little tiny chunk of ham. But when you do it from your food storage ingredients, you can really put in a lot of ham and other things that you may not be able to can. So that's something to consider as well.
My next food storage meal is taco soup. And again, we have options and options within options. First option, go to my food storage shelf and get a quart of ready-made taco soup, heat and eat, boom, there's dinner. Other option is to gather the separate ingredients from food storage. My trio beans, tomato sauce, hamburger, we have taco seasoning, corn, and the options here are tomatoes. I have home bottled tomatoes in a quart we can use, or purchased canned tomatoes to make a batch from scratch. And once again, you can see when all these ingredients go together, you will have a lot of taco soup to serve a number of people. The accompaniment for this meal would be tortilla chips, whether purchased if that's an option, or homemade from masa and water, the ingredients that we would have in our food storage meal. Again, efficiency, fast or a little bit more effort and taking a little more time but making a lot more.
In our food storage book, I believe that we do have instructions for canning the trio beans.
Excellent.
Trio beans are 3 different types of beans in one jar. And I think that we also included the homemade tortilla chips.
Yes, that's in your recipes.
So those recipes are in our book. I don't do this because when we make taco soup, we love to have leftovers for 3 days. So we always just put the ingredients together. And we have the same set of ingredients in our food storage. We must use almost the same recipe.
I'll bet we do.
So we don't have the taco soup recipe in our food storage book, I don't think.
We do not.
Well, all right, so in a day or two, because give me a few days to get home, I will add to our recipe page a recipe for taco soup ingredients, and then you can decide what you want to can in advance or buy in cans and have on your shelf.
And I think it's interesting to note that the taco soup recipe I used for many, many years is in my food storage cookbook in your handwriting. Taco soup on a recipe card.
So it's my original.
It is your
oh, for
original
heaven's
recipe.
sake. Those were from our El Paso days, I
Yes.
think. Yes,
I
okay.
remember.
All right. I chose to do some minimalist meals because we had to bring all of the ingredients up from 4 hours away. So the first meal that I have chosen is one that we really love, and that is using our pulled pork recipe. Now I have pulled pork in 2 ways in our food storage. I have this pulled pork, my gosh, look at that, it's from 2018.
That's excellent.
So it's 4 years old, it's still just as good as can be. And so I would dump this in a pan and it's in chunks. I'm not sure if you can see the chunks. But then I would put this in a pan and flake it with a fork, heat it up. With this one, this is freeze-dried pulled pork. And so all I would need to do with this one is just add water to it, and in about 2 minutes, it would be softened. And then once the pork is hot and ready, then I have been making up batches of these soft bread wraps. This is a King Arthur recipe, and actually we've included it in one of our previous videos. But this is such a lovely foundation for all different kinds of sandwich type things. They're very flexible. So we would fill this with pulled pork, and then I forgot to bring some of our dehydrated cheese, but we would rehydrate the cheese, and then if we were in a situation where we did not have fresh lettuce or fresh tomatoes, then hopefully our microgreens would fill that void, and we would be able to use some microgreens in here. And then of course we do have home canned salsa. So that is my first quick recipe, and we could sit down for dinner in about 10 minutes after bringing these in. My second meal begins with our chicken meal mix. And we do have a video on this. It is simply a chicken stew, and this is so very versatile. You can eat it out of the jar, heat it up just exactly like this. But what goes so delicious with it is that I could mix up a batch of my biscuits. Now this is my own biscuit mix, and it has lard in it, and it has buttermilk, powdered buttermilk. I have recently freeze-dried buttermilk that has turned out fantastic, or you can purchase the number 10 cans or even smaller size packages of dried buttermilk. But I put this mix together, and then all I have to do is add water, stir, and bake. So you could have this chicken stew with biscuits, or you could also use the biscuit dough and drop on the top for chicken and dumplings. And then also you could put a fast pie crust together. We have a pie crust recipe in our food storage book.
Do we? Are you asking?
Yes, no, I think yes, because I have cherry pie.
Excellent.
So we do have a pie crust recipe in our upcoming food storage book. You could use that same crust, or if you have a freezer that still works, you could always use puff pastry
That would be delicious.
and make a chicken pot pie. So those are my 2 very quick meals.
And I've been thinking about this as you were showing your meals. There's a little bit of a contrast in the number of things that Pam has put out and the number I've put out. If space is a limitation, you may think about doing things the way Pam has and having everything right here in the jar ready to go, and you don't have to store all these extras the way I have. And I wanted to ask you about your pulled pork. Which do you prefer? They both seem very fast.
They are very fast. And one of the things that I did with the freeze-dried, Jim found a fabulous buy on pork shoulder the other day. And so in my Instant Pots, and I have several, I have too many, we cut it in great big chunks and put it in the Instant Pots and pressure cooked it with the spices and everything to make the pulled pork as necessary with the barbecue flavoring. And then I had such wonderful broth left from that.
Oh.
I canned the broth. I canned the broth in 8-ounce jars. So when I'm ready to rehydrate this, I can rehydrate it in its own broth.
That would be fabulous.
So and then when I do that, they taste about the same.
Okay, does this double in size when you rehydrate it? Is it more than those 2 cups or just close to the same?
The thing about freeze drying is, and I talk about this a lot in other videos, with freeze drying, the food maintains its volume.
Okay.
With dehydration, it shrivels. It's a different process. And so when I rehydrate dehydrated foods, they swell. But when I rehydrate freeze-dried foods, they don't.
Okay.
The liquid just works its way back into the cells and maintains its original volume. That was a great question.
Well, I'm glad to know that.
So one of the things that you can see from both of us, and as we have told you before, sometimes we do things the same, amazingly so.
Yes.
And other times we do things very different from each other. But both of us seem to prefer options. So sometimes we can individual ingredients, like with the taco soup, and sometimes we put full meals together. And you may prefer one or the other, but we both seem to prefer having both options.
Yes. Fast and easy. Efficiency and being organized is important to both of us.
Yes, absolutely. So that's it for this video, and it's so fun being up here.
It is a lot of fun.
Jim and I would like to move in. Would you mind?
Please, please. We love it.
We could just produce videos all the time. We could start a brand new channel. Pam and Cindy's
24/7.
That's right. I have a title. Pam and Cindy's Wonderfulness.
There we go. In one word.
All right, thank you for being with us. We appreciate so much that you view our videos and that many of you find them so useful and share with others who are also concerned about being prepared in uncertain times. So thanks, and we will see you at our next video. Bye.